Hello everybody and welcome. In today's video, we're going to continue our FM26 Beta experimentation by talking about a back 3 tactic. And let's get started with an overview. I wanted to make a back 3 tactic for this video, and we're going to start to drift away from what we looked at in the last video about the beta. In that one, I stayed with the more familiar player roles, but in this one, we're going to start to explore some of the new ones. Today, we'll be utilizing the back 3 for our in-possession tactic. And then, in a similar way to that last video, I'll be using a different out-of-possession formation to look at the differences and see how the match engine is playing out. While this isn't a results-based tactical analysis, meaning I'm not super interested in winning or losing, I am going to be looking for some role cohesion. How can we start to look for some good role combinations, and maybe more importantly, are we getting some conflicting role combinations? And finally, it may not be the most exciting thing, but we're not watching goals with this one. For today, we're heading back to our favorite club in Norway, Oslo. They were promoted in real life, so we're now playing in the first division. Let's start with our in-possession shape. Since we have 2 tactics to make, I don't really have to worry about a holding defensive midfielder if I don't want to for in-possession. So I went with this 3-4-3 shape. The striker is the center forward. On the flanks, I'm using the wide forward and the playmaking winger. I'm really curious about their positioning and how they act with a solo striker. In the midfield, nothing too crazy. The attacking midfielder and the center midfielder. Pretty straightforward roles where we've got one more balanced and of course one more attacking. For the wingbacks on the left, I'm using the inside wingback, and on the right, I'm using the advanced wingback. In some early tests, I'm really loving the wingbacks in a back 3 with FM26. For the center backs, I've got 2 wide center backs and then the advanced center back, which is essentially the libero in this new game. Out of possession, we are experimenting and changing it up, using a 4-1-4-1. The 2 banks of 4 is always a good start when defending. We keep the center forward across both tactics. One of the attacking midfielders changes to a center midfielder. It gives us a balance between tracking down and holding their position. Now the wings are where I wanted to see some new roles. I've got the wide outlet wide midfielders. I imagine they'd be good for counterattacks. So this is another role where I'll be checking out some positioning. And I've been drawn to the dropping defensive midfielder, which was in our last video too. The role is a reverse halfback in essence. So he'll play like a normal midfielder and then transition to a center back when the opponent gets close to goal. The back line, I went with the standard center backs flanked by 2 pressing fullbacks. And there are no team instructions for either tactic. Here are the 2 tactics next to each other. Let's head to the next section and check out some highlights. We'll start off with a look at our defensive shape. It starts with the opponent on the ball deep in their own half. This is our striker, the 2 banks of 4, and then that dropping defensive midfielder. He doesn't become a center back unless the opponent is near the goal. The play starts and the 2 banks of 4 cover so much ground. I'm loving this new match engine and the way we can use 2 different formations. It's great that we can use this for defensive shapes. We win the ball and start our transition, eventually getting into a near 2-3-5 attacking shape. 2 roles I've enjoyed is the playmaking winger and the advanced wingback. The playmaker is near a striker in this shape, and we have a possibility for that diagonal through ball. The central midfielder and wide center back are providing nice outlets. And the center forward and attacking midfielder give us our other 2 attackers. The fly in the ointment, so to say, is these 2 right here, but we're going to revisit them in just a second. We get a chance in the initial shape, for the most part, is really pleasing. Alright, so if you're making a new tactic and you're wondering, well, how do I tell if it's working or what do I change? The absolute very first thing I look at is the positioning of the players. It's why not using team instructions when building a tactic is so beneficial. You get an unaltered look at them. My goalkeeper is on the ball and we're starting our build-up. Now nothing is too out of the ordinary, and dare I say, the shape looks pretty good. But the 2 roles we're going to look at is the advanced center back and the inside wing back. We're going to start our possession, and when we get the ball past midfield, look at the 2 roles, nearly on top of each other. This, to me, is not ideal with our player role selection. See how this defender here is able to mark 2 players. This gives the defense the advantage since one is taking out two. We want our spacing to be more like our center forward, attacking midfielder, and wide forward. Close enough to pass to, but still even spacing where the defenders have to defend properly. We get a potential pass through the midfield, but nothing comes of this sequence. Here's another example with the inside wingback on the ball. This one will focus on the advanced wingback and the wide forward. I've noticed that depending on the role, the more attacking wingbacks get really far up the field. And some of the other wing roles, like the wide forward, sit deeper in what we think of a more traditional wingback position. I like this new change since if I want a player to sit further up the field, maybe I choose an inside forward or that playmaking winger. We looked at the poacher in the last video, but I'm getting serious poacher vibes from this center forward. Sits in the center, looks to make runs in behind. I'm curious to try out the channel striker with it in something like a 4-4-2, maybe a future video. The last example we're going to talk about are outlet passes. It starts with the opponent on the ball. They continue their possession and eventually work the ball into the corner. We're going to look at this wide outlet, wide midfielder. The idea is that the role is meant to be an outlet, so if we win the ball, we can start our counter. There's another role that's a tracking wide midfielder, and they're going to drop back. And I imagine they'd sit somewhere here, kind of like the defensive winger in the older FMs. In this one, the play doesn't work out, but you can see the idea behind the outlet roles. We won the match 1-0 and we had a good number of shots on target, but our XG was inflated since we had a missed penalty. I've mentioned it a few times, but I love this new match engine. There are so many different permutations and possibilities with this tactical setup that I feel like you could get almost any idea you have to work. I'm still early into my research with these player roles, but I love the variety we can get from choosing different ones. I can't wait to dive deeper into the match engine, but that will have to wait for future videos. If you'd like some player role shirts or maybe a digital FM planner, you can check out the Half Space Apparel online store. I've also got a Patreon account if you'd like to support the channel. Anyway, that's all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching.